There is a particular discomfort that arises when you begin to see a person more clearly than they intended to be seen. It is not always dramatic. It may happen during a small disagreement, when the voice changes slightly, when the eyes lose their warmth, when a kindness suddenly becomes conditional. Most people reveal themselves not when they speak about values, but when something threatens their advantage. This is a cold observation, but it is a necessary one. You may live beside a person for years and still know only their manners, their habits, their preferred stories about themselves. Character does not announce itself in the well-arranged room of polite behavior. It appears when the room is disturbed. It appears when the person is denied something they expected, or given power over someone who cannot immediately resist them. These are the two moments that interest me, the moment of frustration and the moment of advantage. In one, the mask is pressured from within. In the other, it is loosened from above. And you begin to understand that much of what you called personality was only costume, adapted to circumstances that never truly tested it. I have often seen that people confuse consistency of behavior with depth of character. A person may be pleasant because life has not contradicted them. A person may appear generous because generosity has never cost them anything. A person may seem patient because no one has yet stood in the way of what they secretly believe they deserve. You notice this in ordinary scenes. Someone is charming at dinner until the waiter makes a mistake. Someone praises fairness at work until credit is given to another. Someone speaks of loyalty until they are mildly embarrassed in public. Then a second face appears, not necessarily monstrous, but more accurate. The tone becomes sharper than the event requires. The delay in reply becomes punishment. The compliment becomes a hook. The apology becomes a performance designed to end discomfort rather than meet truth. You feel the shift before you can name it. And often you doubt yourself because the change is subtle. But the unconscious does not need a sermon to expose itself. It requires only a crack in the arrangement. Human character is not revealed by what a person claims to admire, but by what they do when admiration is withheld. This is why frustration is such a precise instrument. It removes decoration. It shows whether restraint is genuine or merely convenient. It shows whether kindness is a principle or a strategy. It shows whether the person can suffer a limit without turning the limit into an enemy. The first moment, then, is the moment when a person does not get what they want. Do not look only at anger. Anger is too obvious, and many people have learned to hide it well. Look instead at the form the disappointment takes. Some people become silent, not with reflection, but with calculation. Some become wounded in a way that makes you responsible for the wound. Some become cold. And in that coldness you feel that affection has been withdrawn like money from a bank. Some become suddenly moral. Not because morality has been violated, but because their desire has been obstructed. This is one of the more unsettling discoveries about human nature. Many people use virtue as a costume for appetite. They say they are disappointed in your character when they are only disappointed in your refusal. They say they value honesty when what they wanted was compliance. They say they are hurt by your distance when what truly troubles them is the loss of influence. In such moments, the psyche reveals the primitive bargain beneath its civilized speech. You are allowed to be good, as long as your goodness serves the arrangement. You are allowed to be free as long as your freedom does not inconvenience their image of themselves. You are allowed to speak as long as your speech does not awaken what they have kept asleep. This is why small frustrations are often more revealing than great crises. In a great crisis, people may become theatrical. They know they are being observed, and the archetype of the noble sufferer may take possession of them for a time. But in small frustrations, the ego is caught unprepared. The coffee is wrong. The meeting is delayed. The reply is not immediate. The plan changes. Someone else receives attention. A minor criticism lands in the room. These are tiny doors through which the unconscious walks without permission. Watch what happens then. Does the person become curious? Or do they become accusatory? Do they ask? Or do they assume? Do they regulate themselves? Or do they make the entire atmosphere responsible for their disturbance? You will notice that immature character has a peculiar demand. It wants the outer world to rearrange itself, so the inner world never has to become conscious. This is not merely bad manners. It is psychology. The person cannot tolerate the small wound to the persona, because the persona has been mistaken for the self. A delay becomes disrespect. A boundary becomes betrayal. A disagreement becomes an attack. Such a person does not respond to reality. They respond to the injury reality has made to their preferred image. There is a symbolic image that has returned to me often when observing this. A beautiful porcelain mask hanging on a wall. Polished, delicate, almost sacred in appearance. Everyone who enters the room admires it. They speak of its elegance. They believe it tells them something about the person who owns the house. But behind the mask, hidden from the room, there is a small iron hook fixed into the wall. The mask depends entirely upon that hook. Character is not the mask. And it is not even the beauty of the mask. Character is revealed by the hook. It is the hidden mechanism that holds the presentation in place. When frustration comes, the wall shakes. If the hook is weak, the mask trembles. If the hook is rotten, the mask falls. You must understand this carefully. The falling of the mask is not the creation of a new person. It is the revelation of the fastening. You did not make them cruel by disagreeing. You did not make them dismissive by saying no. You did not make them contemptuous by failing to praise them. You merely touched the wall. The mechanism answered, and the answer was older than the moment. The second moment is more dangerous, because it is often mistaken for success, confidence, leadership, or charm. Watch a person when they suddenly possess advantage. Watch them when they have information you need. Authority you cannot challenge. Social favor you do not have. Money you depend upon. Or emotional access that gives them influence. Power does not always corrupt in the crude sense. More often, it permits what was already present to stop pretending. A person who is generous without power may become selective when they possess it. A person who seemed humble when ignored may become dismissive when admired. A person who spoke warmly to equals may speak differently to someone who serves them. Here again, daily life provides the truest evidence. Observe how someone treats a junior employee after the supervisor leaves. Observe how they speak about a friend who is absent and temporarily vulnerable. Observe what they do with a secret. Observe whether they become larger in the presence of another person's dependence, or whether they become more careful. Advantage reveals whether the soul has limits when no external punishment is near. Many people are ethical only in the presence of consequences. Remove the consequence, and the concealed ruler steps forward. This is why one must be very cautious with charm. Charm is often a social intelligence, divorced from moral weight. It knows how to enter a room, how to warm a voice, how to give the correct compliment, how to appear attentive while quietly measuring usefulness. I do not say that charm is false in itself. There are natural graces of temperament, and the world would be poorer without them. But charm must be watched when advantage appears. The charming person who gains leverage may show you whether warmth was a bridge or a net. A bridge allows another to cross freely. A net enjoys the moment the other is caught. You have felt this perhaps in a conversation where someone, having gained your trust, begins to use your own openness against you. At first, the exchange was intimate. Later, it becomes evidence. At first, they admired your honesty. Later, they repeat it with a slight twist before others. At first, they wanted closeness. Later, they use closeness as permission. This is not merely betrayal. It is the revelation that intimacy, for them, was not a meeting of souls, but a collection of handles. The person with advantage reveals their relation to the unconscious more clearly than the person under observation. When one is watched, one performs. When one is safe from correction, one discloses. Notice the superior who becomes gentle precisely when authority increases. Notice the friend who becomes more discreet when trusted with painful knowledge. Notice the partner who becomes more protective of your dignity when they know your weakness. These are signs of a character in which power has met conscience. But notice also the one who becomes amused by dependence, impatient with vulnerability, or intoxicated by being needed. They may not strike, they may not shout, they may simply begin to ration warmth. They answer when they wish to remind you that you wait. They give praise when they wish to keep you near. They tell the truth only when truth strengthens their position. Such people do not always know they are doing this. The most dangerous motives are often those that have never been admitted to consciousness. A man may call his control concern. A woman may call her contempt standards. A friend may call envy discernment. The unconscious is a talented lawyer. It defends the impulse before the accused even knows there has been a crime. This is where projection enters, not as a word from a book, but as an event you can feel in the body. A person who cannot bear their own selfishness will accuse you of selfishness at the exact moment you cease serving them. A person who cannot bear their own aggression will experience your boundary as violence. A person who cannot bear their envy will interpret your success as arrogance. In frustration, they project, because the denied part of themselves has been activated. In advantage, they project because the denied part now has room to act. These two moments are connected. When denied, the hidden motive complains. When empowered, it comment. This is why character must be observed across both conditions. If you look only at frustration, you may mistake pain for truth. If you look only at advantage, you may mistake confidence for corruption. But when you see both the person obstructed and the person elevated, you begin to see the continuity beneath circumstances. The mask changes expression, but the hook remains the same. A person who punishes you for denying them may also exploit you when you depend on them. A person who can bear frustration without humiliation often handles advantage without cruelty. The root is one thing, the degree to which the ego has accepted the existence of other people as real. This may sound severe, but much of moral life depends upon this acceptance. The undeveloped person experiences others not as separate centers of life, but as extensions, mirrors, obstacles, or supplies. When you please them, you are good. When you obstruct them, you are difficult. When you admire them, you are perceptive. When you see them too clearly, you are unkind. Their judgment of you changes according to your usefulness to the structure of their persona. You may notice this at a family gathering, in a workplace meeting, in a friendship that becomes strained after one honest sentence. Before the sentence, you were valued. After the sentence, you are reinterpreted. Your entire history with them is rewritten because the present moment has injured the image they needed you to protect. This rewriting is one of the clearest signs of character under pressure. Mature character can be disappointed without falsifying the past. Immature character must destroy the past in order to justify its present resentment. It cannot say, "You have loved me, and now you have refused me." It must say, "You were never what I thought." In this way, the psyche protects its entitlement by revising reality. You must also watch yourself in this observation, because the desire to see character can become its own vanity. Many people wish to detect others not because they love truth, but because they fear being fooled. Fear sharpens perception for a time, but it also distorts it. If you look at every human being as a suspect, you will find evidence everywhere. Because human beings are mixed creatures, a single moment of irritation does not reveal the whole soul. A single failure under pressure does not condemn the entire person. What matters is pattern, proportion, and recovery. Does the person return to themselves after frustration? Can they recognize the injury they caused while defending themselves? Can they hold the fact that they wanted something and still respect your right not to provide it? Can they possess advantage without making a theater of superiority? Can they apologize without secretly demanding applause for the apology? Character is not the absence of shadow. No such person exists. Character is the relation a person has to the shadow. Once it has appeared, some deny it, some decorate it, some outsource it, some slowly become responsible for it. The difference is enormous. I have noticed that the most revealing moments often come after the event, not during it. During frustration, the person may be overtaken. During advantage, the person may be intoxicated. But afterward, when the heat has cooled, the deeper structure becomes visible. Do they remember accurately? Do they become curious about their reaction? Do they minimize? Do they make you comfort them for what they did to you? Do they speak as if the only wound in the room is their embarrassment at being seen? This is a very precise test. Many people can say, "I am sorry," while remaining loyal to the motive that produced the harm. Their apology is not a descent into truth. It is a repair of image. They regret exposure, not injury. They regret consequence, not action. You can feel the difference. A real apology has gravity. It does not rush you back into the old arrangement. It does not demand immediate warmth. It does not turn your pain into an inconvenience. An apology without transformation is merely the persona changing clothes. At the same time, advantage has its own aftermath. Watch what a person does after they have won. This is rarely discussed. Yet it is among the most exact revelations of character. Some people, after winning an argument, become quiet because they understand the cost of victory. Some become tender because they see that truth has wounded someone. Some become careful because they know power has passed through their hands. Others become excited. They repeat the winning sentence. They tell the story to others. They need witnesses for your defeat. They smile with a satisfaction too large for the occasion. They do not want resolution. They want confirmation of rank. This is where you see whether the person was seeking truth or dominance. Truth, when found, often makes the mature person solemn. Dominance makes the immature person hungry. One of the most reliable signs of undeveloped character is the inability to let a defeated person keep dignity. Such a person does not merely want to be right. They want the other reduced. And when you see that, you have learned something that no confession would have told you. There are moments when the realization comes quietly and almost without drama. You are sitting across from someone you have known for a long time. Perhaps in a cafe. Perhaps in a meeting room. Perhaps in the dim light of a kitchen after an argument. They are speaking in the same voice you have heard for years. Using familiar phrases. Perhaps even smiling. Yet something in you has gone still. You see that the words are not meeting reality. They are managing it. You see that the affection offered to you has always contained an invisible clause. You see that the person is not lying in the simple sense. They are inhabited by an arrangement they cannot see. This is often more disturbing than deliberate deceit. A conscious liar may know the truth and hide it. But the unconscious person reorganizes the truth before it reaches awareness. They do not merely deceive you. They live inside the deception and invite you to call it home. This is why individuation is not only the discovery of oneself, but the painful correction of one's perception of others. To become more conscious is to lose the luxury of being persuaded by surfaces. You no longer ask, "Are they kind to me when everything is easy?" You ask, What happens when I become inconvenient, you no longer ask. Do they speak beautifully about loyalty, you ask? What do they do with my absence? My weakness? My refusal? My success? You no longer ask. Do they admire truth, you ask? Can they endure truth when truth removes their advantage? This shift is not comfortable. It may make familiar rooms feel strange. It may make old relationships appear under a harsher light. But it is not cynicism. Cynicism says everyone is false, and therefore nothing matters. Consciousness says everyone has a shadow, and therefore observation matters greatly. Cynicism closes the eye. Consciousness keeps it open, even when the sight is unwelcome. Return now to the porcelain mask on the wall. You may remember how beautiful it appeared when the room was calm. You may remember how sincerely you admired it. Perhaps you even defended it when others sensed something wrong. But one day, the wall trembled. Perhaps you said no. Perhaps someone weaker entered the room. Perhaps the person gained attention, or lost it. Perhaps you succeeded where they expected you to remain small. The mask shifted, and for one instant you saw the iron hook behind it. That instant cannot be unseen. The strange grief of perception is that it does not always destroy affection, but it changes its innocence. You may still care for the person. You may still understand their history, their fear, their loneliness, their confusion, but understanding is not blindness. Compassion that refuses perception becomes servitude. Love that cannot observe character becomes participation in illusion. Once you have seen the hook, you may still speak kindly, but you no longer speak to the mask, as if it were the face. And this is perhaps the most unsettling realization. Character is not hidden because people are always trying to conceal it from you. Often, it is hidden because you prefer the performance. You prefer the charming version, the generous version, the wounded version, the familiar version. You prefer the story in which the signs were misunderstandings. The tone was accidental. The pattern was temporary. The cruelty was stress. The advantage was harmless. You participate in the mask because the mask protects not only them, but also your investment in them. To see someone clearly may require you to admit that your loyalty was partly loyalty to an image. You were not only deceived by another person, you were comforted by your own selection of evidence. This is why true perception feels like loss. It removes not only the false object, but the part of you that needed it to remain false. So when you wish to know someone's character, do not ask for declarations. Do not be seduced by philosophies spoken in comfortable rooms. Watch the two moments. Watch them when they are denied, delayed, contradicted, criticized, or no longer centered. Watch them when they gain leverage, admiration, secrecy, authority, or access to another person's vulnerability. Then watch what happens afterward. When the moment has passed and the psyche has had time to meet itself, there, in the small corrections or evasions, in the dignity preserved or taken, in the truth, admitted or rearranged, you will see more than personality. You will see the moral architecture of the person, and perhaps, more disturbingly, you will see your own, because the observer is never outside the experiment. The same two moments wait for you as well: what you become when you are refused, and what you become when you are able to take more than you should, somewhere behind your own polished mask. The hook is also fastened to the wall, and life, with its quiet indifference, is already beginning to shake it.